This is Lions on Tap, a weekly look inside the Lions' Den, presented by Coors Light, the chilled choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Highlights, interviews, and a look ahead to this week's game. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and the voice of your BC Lions, Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
Welcome to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW as we come to you from Park, Vancouver, right next door to BC Place Stadium. Of course, beautiful facility here, hotel, casino, etc. And a nice hangout if you're a Lions fan. You want to go to the Lions game, you come in here, have a little bite to eat, maybe a drink or two, go next door, then come back after. Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski have never done that because they're hardworking members of the organization, very busy on game days. I think this is the first time you ever set foot in a casino, eh, Nick?
We came here twice last year. You don't remember, eh?
Well, full disclosure, a few of us were in here after the game on Saturday. I won't say who, I won't say what part of the place, but
it was a bit of a celebration.
Yeah, I mean, just culmination of a good week. You have to enjoy yourself for a couple hours.
Let me throw this to you guys because you guys are a lot closer to it than I was in terms of everything that was going on, all the hype with 50 Cent, people wanting tickets, this, that. After the game, was there almost like a sense of relief? Like, it wasn't you wanted to go out and rip it up and have a great time. It was just like, I'm going to have a drink and I'm going to go home and sleep. Was it more of that?
Well, young Nick here, I think, was up all night editing. But, I described this to someone else who asked, you must have been real busy. Must have been. But I said, yeah, it was, but it's in a rewarding way.
Yeah.
A sense of accomplishment. And just to kind of take folks behind the curtain, we announced this 1 or 2 days after we were in Calgary for preseason, so we were still in Kamloops, but it doesn't seem that long ago because it just kind of flew by. So, yeah, culmination of a very exciting 2.5 weeks, I guess it was, and props to everyone involved.
And for people that missed it, didn't have an opportunity to see it, Nick, you and your crew did a tremendous job of documenting it and putting it down in almost a 3-minute video, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I straight up called it a finish line, Baker. And it's week 3 right now, but I called that a finish line.
We got 16 at least to go here, but yeah, you're right.
That's the irony of it, yeah. But on Sunday morning, I knew what I was getting into with the overnight stuff, but yeah, it felt like a finish line. It was a lot of work on, I think, everybody. I kind of speak on behalf of everybody in the organization. It was a lot of work to get this all done, but it was a pretty spectacular day and a great success overall, I'd say.
I walked into the owner suite. I got there probably, 11:30. I figured I'd beat all the rush, the traffic and all that, and I walked down to Amar's suite. And Amar was in a suite, and Dwayne Vanu, the president, and Dwayne was on the phone. He was doing last-minute things, and I went over and I talked to Amar. I said, nervous? He goes, yeah, a little bit. It was a big day for the organization. You wanted it to go off without a hitch, and it did. People that came for the concert loved it. People that, watched the football game got treated to a victory. And I think the really cool part about it is that there's a certain amount of fans that got exposed to the CFL game for the first time. And if you get some of those fans back, the day's a success.
That's it. You see the odd naysayer talk about, people left after the concert, or half of them didn't even stick around. One, that's not true at all. You don't have to be sitting in your seat to still be inside the venue. People are out socializing on the concourse, washroom lines, whatever. But you kind of just hit on it there. If you're exposing some new blood, some new fans, and they look at that and say, I want to come back to the next game a week from Thursday, then massive success.
And I read so many comments on Twitter just like that. People that had gone to the game for the first time loved it, say, I'm going to come back. The thing is, I think once you get people in the building, they enjoy the experience. And this even goes back to the last couple of years and just talking to friends of mine who are bringing their kids to the games now, right?
Yep.
And hey, what do you think of the game? I loved it. My kid loved it. And that's all I'm hearing, right? And that's the really cool part about it is that you're getting people engaged again. And that's the main focus.
Well, I'll even add that it's not even just about the game. It's before you even get into the game, right? Like for my demographic, the guys I gave my staff tickets to, they were going to the pregame party. And I'm like, it's $5 beers. It's outside. It's live music. It's packed. It's a good time. A lot of young people in that crowd, so it's not even just about the game. It's before the game, too.
Game itself, Lions knock off the Stampeders 26-17. It was a tough game. Julian and I were calling it, and then after the game, Julian just kind of goes, that was just a gritty, tough game. Like a game that no team really had a lot of momentum in it. It was almost kind of like one of those slugfests. You see teams going back and forth, and at the end, the BC Lions wound up winning the football game. Not in part with, of course, our next guest coming up here, Josh Woods, who made a big play at the end of the game, knocking a fumble out of bounds. But it was a tough football game.
Yeah, those are the type of games they're going to have to win. Once we get into September and October and the implications become greater, we're going to see Calgary twice more too, right? So at least twice more. Beyond the regular season, you never know either. So, it's more exciting for a lot of these first-time fans that we're talking about maybe to come see an air raid, to come see an offensive shootout back and forth. But that was a gritty win, and I know you talked to Rick Campbell on the post-game show. I listened back to it the next morning, and he said it's good news, bad news scenario. Yeah, we know we still have a lot of things to work on. We're not nearly satisfied yet. Know we can play better, and that's how you have to approach it.
Well, when you look at negative plays, and that was a big issue in Toronto, and I'll take two categories, and these really stuck out in Toronto, turnovers and sacks. There were 5 turnovers, there were 6 sacks. BC was minus 11 in that department. Against Calgary, they didn't give up a turnover, and they didn't get sacked. And, the offensive line had taken a lot of heat, but to their credit, they had 2 new pieces in there in Chris Slugger at left guard and Tyler Packer at center. Mm-hmm. And that's, for people that don't know, that's a huge deal because, number one, it's about communication. Very good offensive lines that have been together for a long time. It's almost nonverbal communication. And you've got a new center, a new guard. And granted, they were together in training camp, and I understand that. But as Julie always says, there's practice speed and there's game speed, right?
Yep.
And I thought Tyler Packer, and here's a guy who had to recognize the defense and make all the blocking calls and all that. I thought, he did a stand-up job. And, yeah, there was pressure sometimes, but this will crack me up with some fans like, there was tons of pressure. Well, when you bring 8 people and you've got 6 blocking, do the math.
That's bound to happen.
You're going to get 2 people coming in, free. And that happened on a couple of occasions. But to Vernon Adams, to his credit, he got rid of the ball quickly, right? And that one time he did a little Houdini act where he ran from like about the 50 down to about the 40. It was an 11-yard gain, but it was more like a 20-yard run. But, and Vernon did a tremendous job of just getting rid of football when he had to.
I thought Vernon did a great job of using his legs to roll out, too. Like, you saw it on the McInnes touchdown, the 59-yard pass to Ayden Eberhardt. Like, VA was rolling out, making more time by getting out of the pocket and finding open guys and doing what he does downfield.
Well, that's the thing. And your offensive coordinator, Jordan McSimic, will take some credit there because you just if teams are coming all the time, change the launch point, right? Roll them out a few times. And what it does from a defensive perspective, now all of a sudden you can't pin your ears back and come upfield as hard as you'd like because now you're thinking, okay, is he going to roll out? Or even when he scrambles, right? And like he breaks contain and he scrambles for a first down. Now all of a sudden, okay, I got to maintain my pass rush lane here, right? I can't start freelancing because if I do, he might pick that seam and away he goes. So a good game. And defensively, I thought the Lions played well as well. I mean, you look at critical turnovers that they got at the right times, but defensively, I thought the Lions had a good game.
Yeah, we're going to talk to one of those key guy who made one of those key plays here in a minute, Josh Woods, and yeah, big turning point early. I think I was listening to Dave Dickinson's post-game comments. They had a miscommunication. They only had 11 guys out on the field. That second down and goal from the 2, where the defense held to just 3 points. Big significant moment in that game, and we'll talk to Josh about it again. But I'm sure they heard the noise all week, right? Same questions creeping in, stopping the run, and lack of takeaways. So an all-around complimentary football. It gets used a lot, but VA, he said that's what it was after the game.
Yeah, what was he, Pro Football Focus Player of the Week or whatever
I think the proper terminology is honor roll.
Honor roll.
Player. The top-graded player.
Yeah. Honor roll.
94.6, too. It's hard to crack like 80. Never mind 90.
Yeah. You know what?
I go with Player of the Week.
Here's the thing that cracks me about Pro Football Focus. With all due respect, unless you're in the room and you know what the exact assignments are, I find it very difficult for an outsider to sit there and give grades. That's just me. All right. Winnipeg this week.
Yes.
I don't know what I've done to the good Lord above that he has sent me to Winnipeg 5 times in 2 years, but that's the case. We're all going there. Looking forward. At least we're not, stuck there at the Viscount Gord or whatever that place was. We're there.
I have no recollection. That's blocked from my memory.
It was that traumatic,
Yeah.
right? But we're going to Winnipeg. But the good news is, from a Lions perspective, is that this Winnipeg team right now looks like a shell of its former self. I watched the game last night versus Ottawa. Defensively, or pardon me, the biggest thing that stood out for me was their offensive line. I mean, Ottawa was getting home with 4 guys. They weren't even blitzing. They were getting there with 4 versus 5 just by running games like twists and stuff, right? So that offensive line seems to be a little bit in disarray. They've got brand new corners. That's another issue. And I think when you have an opponent like this, and it's funny because we watched Edmonton tonight, who won in Florida in the NHL, now to take it back to Edmonton for Game 6. You got to get an opponent at the right time. And when you look at the Vancouver Canucks this year, they got Edmonton 3 times in the first month.
Yeah.
When Edmonton was reeling
before the coaching change.
The coaching change and took advantage. I think the Lions have to take advantage this week of a Winnipeg team that's not playing at its best.
Yeah, they've got injuries. They lost a couple key guys in the offseason. And, big opportunity here. Open up a 4-point cushion after 3 games. Who would have thought that? Have to take advantage.
All right, we will take a quick break. On the other side, Josh Woods, UCLA product, now plying his trade as the middle linebacker for the BC Lions, will join us as we continue to talk some Lions football. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
Now, back to more of Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light. Once again, here are Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
Welcome back to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW and the Lions Audio Network. It's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic, as the man said, Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the BC Lions media team. And our next guest here at BC Kitchen at Park Vancouver is starting middle linebacker Josh Woods. Josh, welcome.
After 4 years, it's an honor to finally be on the show.
He comes out guns a-blazing.
I'm
What are you
happy to be
saying?
here.
We ignored you for the first 4 years? Was that it?
I'm just happy to be here
Hey,
now.
we tried talking to your people. Like, you know, the appearance fee that you had the first 3 years was pretty crazy. So it's nice to kind of like we kind of found a middle ground this year and we got you here.
That and Ben Hladek said no tonight. He had something going on. I kid.
Bake with a shot.
Yeah.
Hey, well, it's nice to have you. First off, talk a little bit about the Calgary game. I mean, everyone's talking about it. What was it like to kind of trot out in that field early and see all the people in the stands and just feel the electricity?
Man, it was so fun. We could definitely feel the energy and just it had that playoff atmosphere to it, kind of similar to the West, the West Finals semis last year and the past 2 years. But having that energy in the building, regardless of what everybody's saying, like as a player, it felt really good, and we hope that people continue to come.
Now, you were obviously in the locker room with the concerts going on. Mm-hmm. Can you hear that? Can you hear like the stadium, like like that hum of the stadium? Can you hear 50 performing in the back?
Yeah, we could hear every song he was doing.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What was the locker room like? Were guys still serious? Were guys kind of like having a little fun with the music, singing along? I mean was it any different than normal?
I mean, the duration of us being in there was a little awkward. It's a long time to warm up and just be sitting around. So, I mean, everybody had their own system and methods going on. Some guys getting extra treatment, some guys napping, some guys just studying plays, some guys, laying down or doing other things. But I think everybody kept it professional and stayed locked in and ready for the game.
Well, whatever formula happened worked because we're now 3-0 with the concert kickoff. So whatever the formula is, I say keep doing it. Hey, Moj said off the top, 4 years in, well, 3 and change we'll call it, because you came toward the tail end of 2021. Take us back. Nick and I were talking earlier today in the office about how weird that year was, of course, coming out of COVID, shortened season, and there was still some protocols in place. What was that process like when you came up and with the quarantine and all that? Was that kind of surreal, your first sort of foray into Canadian football?
Yeah, I mean, it was super weird, but I was just grateful to be on the team. I mean, COVID was just a weird time, and, being at home not playing, it sucked. And, I mean, I was on the verge of thinking about retiring and just, going on to the next chapter of my life. So, of course, I was just happy to be here. But, yeah, really strange time.
How do you get involved in the Canadian game, like coming up to Canada? Take us through that process.
So I came out of UCLA 2020, I thought I was going to extra year, couldn't get it, so I went straight into training. A week before pro day, it gets canceled with COVID. All the teams, I got calls from pretty much every team before the draft, and then got nothing. It's quiet all season. I did my pro day 2021, and then Rick Maiden reached out to my agent at some point and was talking to me before, and then he said, we don't have a spot for you now, so maybe, in the extension roster, you get a shot. So that's when I came up, and been here ever since.
What do you think of the quality when you came up? Were you surprised?
I had heard things, especially having Flintoff as a punter in college.
Okay.
He kind of, as soon as I knew I was coming, just talking to him about everything, and I was kind of keeping up and watching games to try to learn. And I've also always heard, like, the names and guys, and, like, Cam Judge is another guy that I've been pretty close with, and since he came up here, I've kept in contact. So I've kind of seen from a distance how it was, but, I mean, just being up here, I really had to get acclimated.
I feel like nowadays everyone just sees those, like, Chad Ochocinco Instagram reels, and it's like, oh, yeah, the CFL has some high talent in it. But one transition into the play you made on fourth quarter is you talked about in your post-game media segment that Rick Campbell, when in training camp, he tells you about these kind of finite rules that don't exist in the NFL, like batting the ball out and not having to recover the fumble. Do you remember what you knew going into the CFL? And do you remember, like, any other things that you learned during maybe your first year or two that you had no idea existed in the CFL?
I mean, when I came up here, I had to learn everything. It was nice kind of, having that, back end of the season to really learn and get ready for the following year as far as, bigger field, more players, special teams, halos, like all these different rules. And the more I learned, like, the funner it got because, like a certain thing like that, like I said, one of my best friends plays for the Cardinals, Chris Barnes, and he came to the game on Saturday, and he was sitting with my parents, and, like, he was asking my dad all the questions about, like, because when we have talks, like, of course we have football talks, and, like, certain things we can still talk about, but certain rules he was just like, oh, that's crazy. And he was wondering, like, why I did that, and he asked my dad immediately, like, why is Josh celebrating, like, the ball went out? Isn't it their ball? Yeah. And my dad told him, like, no, you just need to, tap it out and get the ball. So, it's a fun game.
What was so coming – once that year came to an end, of course, a team doesn't make the playoffs. There's a retirement at quarterback with Mike Riley. A lot of question marks going in, but you were back on board heading into a second year. What was it you focused on going into 2022 as far as sticking around and your hopes of earning a more permanent spot?
Just being consistent and working on the things that, I was really close with Trav when I came in, Coach Travis Brown.
Yep.
Just learning and, soaking up the game and trying to continue to get acclimated and apply the new techniques, different than, what I was used to, and really going in, making an impact. Came to rookie camp and tried to, lead and kind of ended up being the bridge between the rookies and the older guys. So that I think that helped my case a lot.
You come in and you play outside. Now you're playing inside. I remember even when you were more of a package guy at the start. Every time, I imagine when you hear Joker now, you kind of look around, I don't have to do anything, right? You're staying on no matter what. But what was it like trying to learn different positions? And as you're still trying to learn the game, you're learning what's going on with nickel, you're learning with will, you're learning with middle, you're learning all the different positions. What was that like?
Lucky for me, I kind of got groomed that way at UCLA as far as being able to do everything. I think I came in as a Sam linebacker at UCLA, ended up playing as a Mike as a 17-year-old freshman. Then the next year I'm a backup Will. Then I ended up rotating with Cam Judge at Sam. Then my third year I'm starting at Will. And then I got hurt, but my fourth year, by that time I was going to play an inside middle spot in 3-4. And then my last year we didn't have any outside linebackers, so I ended up playing outside linebacker / DN. And learning, how to play all these different positions and really picking up defenses. When I got here, Coach Trav and RP had heard about that, and so they knew I can play different things. So there's a lot of times, they like when I could play the edge, or like RP thought I could play things like an American Sam when I go in at Joker and Buck and all these different packages, and I think that benefited me because I could do all these things. I was talking to a writer today about just growing up in that role of you need to learn to be able to do everything because it's just gonna add value to you because they know they can depend on you.
Yeah.
You can do pretty much everything. And I know it's tough. It's tough being a backup Mike, backup Will, Joker, Buck, all these things. But I loved it. You know what I'm saying? I think I was one of the most versatile guys in the league last year when it came to stuff like that. And it got RP, I think, to really trust me to where he just, he can throw me in anything. But, like, now to really, I can do different things.
Yeah, and it obviously helps your game because you understand the entire concept of the defense. Josh Woods, BC Lions middle linebacker, is our guest. This is Lions on Tap coming to you from BC Kitchen at Park.
And you didn't develop into this every down linebacker overnight, right? Like, I know, but now there is high expectations on you. Like, from a marketing perspective, I remember in March, we're like, yeah, we got to have Josh Woods at our marketing day this year. Like, he's a big name profile. We got to get him. But you're someone who definitely worked your way up on the teams, right? And I think a lot of players in this league have to do that. They have to make a name for themselves, playing all 4 teams, all of that. But you're now someone who's been there, done that kind of thing. But is that something you're kind of like almost transforming into a leader now with guys like Ace Ely, Brooks Parker last year, even Terrence Gagne, the first-year linebacker we drafted? Is that something you're telling them? Like, you got to make your mark on teams to get to the spot where I got to now.
Yeah. I mean, making your impact felt, and especially as an American, for a while I was the only American linebacker that we had, and only American linebacker dressing because we had the Canadian spots. We flipped it this year, of course. But yeah, I was having a conversation with Ace today about just how impactful you have to be to where they feel like they have to play you. Like, on all special teams, you're what do you call it, like a special teams demon. Like, you're a problem, you're an issue. You're just consistent, one of the top, in the league where teams have to scheme for you and be ready for you. And then from there, you build up to being a package guy. And then it's just it's a process, but it's hard. I mean, I think a lot of American guys come here thinking, it's going to be sweet. I'm going to come to the CFL. I'm going to play. I'm going to start immediately, and I'm going to, right off to the NFL. And then they're met at camp, and it's like, oh, the talent is there, and, the ratio. There's all these other things, and, like, yeah, you have to be that much better than other people, and how hard it is to be consistent and be an American in this league for a long time. So, yeah, you really have to continue to build and grow and transcend, and hopefully I am becoming a good leader on this team.
Speaking of learning and growing, a couple of question marks at the start of the year in the secondary, of course, departures and injury to TJ. Talking about the big play you made, was knocked out by Jordan Perryman. Just your sense of how the likes of him and Ronald Kent have stepped in and played big roles here. Yeah,
I mean, I think the past 2 years we had one of the most vet DB cores. And this year is the first time we're really young back there. And one thing I said post-game is, like, I'm proud of them because I understand this is going to be a growing process, and they're only going to get better. So, I mean, they're going to have mistakes, but they're going to learn from them, and they're not going to continue to make the same mistakes. So I'm excited for their development, even moving Manny to boundary half, AG's first full year at free safety. I mean, really,
Patrice Rene.
Patrice really took a big leap from last year to this year. But, I mean, when you really look at our core of DBs, GP's the only guy that is in the same spot, and has been in the same spot. It's new. Even having Ciante, all that type of things, communication in the playbook and working with RP, like, all that stuff is new. So I expect them to grow week in and week out.
And that being said, I mean, in the past when you had TJ and Gary and Marcus and guys that have been around, a lot of times, I mean, they knew exactly what the other guy was doing.
100%.
You've got some new faces, as you mentioned, guys playing new positions. Do you think that this is just kind of like the tip of the iceberg where this defense can be? Because once you start gelling, once you start getting into that mode where you don't need nonverbal communication, I call it, right? Where you just look at the guy knows what's going on. You don't have to yell out and say you got this or that. Once you get to that stage, how good can this defense be?
I mean, I think we could be the best in the league. Like I said, we're only going to get better. Even with the front, adding guys like Pete, adding guys like Covington. They're still adjusting to the way we play and things. I talked to Cov, I mean, after every game, he's like, it's still like getting used to things and asking me questions and seeing what I think about certain things and asking, how I felt about the way he played and stuff like that. And I think it's just fun, and I'm excited to play with guys like that really, really care and how much they can add and bring to this game.
We talked to Covington in the postgame show. The funniest thing was, I mentioned, hey, you got 1 sack. You're only like 186 behind your dad now, right? Still got time to catch him. It's like slowly but surely. So we started talking. We said, so does your dad, do you guys go over the game all the time? He goes, hell no. He goes, it's my mom. He goes, his mom breaks down everything, during the game, you should have took this gap, done this, whatever, right? So it was kind of funny. But and there's a guy who's having fun as well. All right, we'll take a quick break. On the other side, we'll continue our discussion with BC Lions middle linebacker Josh Woods. We're coming to you from BC Kitchen at Park, Vancouver, courtesy of the good folks at Molson Canadian, or I should say Molson Coors Canada. Old habits die hard. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
Now back to more of Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light. Once again, here are Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Moj Marjanovic.
Welcome back to BC Lions on Tap, coming to you from BC Kitchen at Park, Vancouver. And if you've come down for a Lions game at any point, you have to check out BC Kitchen at Park, Vancouver. It's a hop, skip, and a jump from the stadium. And actually, remember seeing last time, Bakes, the entry to the stadium here, one of the fastest entries you'll get. I remember I thought I read something on Twitter talking about the fact that this entry on Saturday was like a breeze compared to some of the other gates where everybody were kind of backed up and all that. So anyway, if you're in the neighborhood, pop on by BC Kitchen at Park, Vancouver.
Can't beat the location.
Yeah, it's a great location, and the food's great, and everything else is a lot of fun as well. Josh Woods, BC Lions middle linebacker, is our guest. We touched on the Calgary game, Josh. We didn't really get into it with Matt, Nick, and myself, but from an X's and O's perspective, what would you like to see improved upon with your D as you guys move forward? What are some of the things that Ryan Phillips is focusing on this week at practice?
Continuing communication. Like I said, with having young guys and new guys, moving around, as far as everybody being on the same page, communication is one of the biggest things. And I think we improved from Toronto to Calgary. So as long as we can continue the upward trend, we'll be good.
You got Winnipeg this week, right? Watching them against Ottawa doesn't look like the Winnipeg team we've seen the last couple of years, but still, they say the most dangerous animal is a wounded animal, right? In a team 0-2 at home, doesn't want to lose at home and going 0-3, so I imagine you're expecting a great effort from the Bombers. Yeah,
I feel like we always get their best shot too, so I'm expecting them to come fired up, being back at home. After losing another one, they usually don't lose 2 in a row. They did. I don't know when the last time they lost 3 in a row, but I know they're going to come fired up, and we need to bring our A game, not, going into it with, thinking that they're going to lay down or thinking that, they're not that good. It's CFL. Anybody can win any
Well, and the
game.
other thing, too, is obviously what we've seen happen in the last Western Final the last 2 years, I should say. You guys should have a chip on your shoulder. You probably want to bury these guys when they're down.
Yeah, I feel like we always owe them one. Taking us out the past 2 years, going into Winnipeg, it's that playoff energy. It's that we need to get over the hump and just beat a Winnipeg. So I think that's our mentality attacking this game.
Based on their day 1 and 2 injury reports, Brady Oliveira not out there practicing. Same goes for Dalton Schoen. I don't know how much you pay attention to that or how serious it's going to be. Does the preparation sort of stay consistent despite all that?
No, I expect them to play.
Yeah.
Coming off of last week, especially Brady, I expect them to play.
One little wrinkle, too, that I'm interested in your opinion on is they got a guy at the backup quarterback, kind of a gadget guy, Chris Traveler, coming in. He's getting some reps in short yardage and even extending him into the next drive. But when he takes off, he's not sliding. He's going full at you, especially at a linebacker. He doesn't care who you are. But a guy like Zach Collaros is going to slide, and you can't afford to take that 15-yard penalty on a late hit, right? So how do you approach that when do you just kind of know that the quarterback's not going to slide, or how do you approach that whole dynamic?
Yeah, you can kind of tell the demeanor and the look they give you if they really about that or not. I've heard he is, so, that's good for him. But, different guys are different. Trey Ford is going to try to juke you and then slide, or, Zach, doesn't want to take a hit. But it'd be interesting to see them keep developing that package with Traveler. So
there was a play last year, guys. Remember with Trey Ford where it looked like he was going to slide? He kind of
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the game, and I've seen it with Josh Allen in the NFL as well, where a guy looks like he's going to slide, and then he continues to run. I'm sorry, but to me, as soon as they break the pocket, I think they should be fair game. Like, honestly, I mean, I understand you want to protect the quarterbacks, but being, I'm old school defensive guy. Once they break the pocket and they're a runner, they're fair game. Like, all this stuff about sliding.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, how many times do you see a guy and right at the last second he slides and here comes a guy, he's already committed to making a hit, boom, here comes the flag because you've hit a guy or tagged a guy as he's, gone into a slide. That is a bang, bang play. You don't have much time to figure out, well, is he going to slide? Or, I mean, you're going out there, okay, I'm going to make a tackle, right? And then at the very last second he slides. Like, I can understand protecting the quarterbacks when they're vulnerable, when they're in a pocket, when they're standing still. But when he's running around and he's doing his thing, I don't know, just put a bib on him.
Yeah, no doubt.
Notice he doesn't say anything?
Yeah.
He's taking a fifth on this one because he knows I'm right. Okay, you don't have to say anything. It's all good.
So won't get fined?
He knows what we're talking about. What's made Zach a challenge over the years? Of course, it's a guy who bounced around a bit, and you talked about it. Rarely do they lose 2 in a row. Pretty much never since they got here, maybe once. But what kind of challenges does he bring?
I mean, since I've been in the league, he's been the best in the league. I think, his IQ and his ability to extend plays, extending plays to make throws, not just run, but, he's more athletic than people think. And it's kind of like really his system, the way that he has certain plays, not many quarterbacks in the league can do it. And, people try to copy some of those plays that Winnipeg does, but I think it's a system that really built around that he's kind of taken over, and it's his style. And he has good weapons around him, so that's always the issue.
How much do you thrive off that environment? Of course, we've had a few big games there over the last couple of years. Make you motivated?
I really enjoy playing at Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Their energy is almost second to none. And it's definitely a chip on the shoulder.
Favorite place to play?
BC Place.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Favorite place to play on the road?
I'd probably say Winnipeg.
Winnipeg? I think Sask is right there.
Sask is close too.
Yeah.
But those are probably top 2.
Yeah. Least favorite place got to be Montreal.
Yeah, they're in Calgary. Their fields are terrible.
Yeah.
Not safe.
Well, never mind the fields, but in Montreal, the locker rooms are just.
Oh, yeah, terrible.
Yeah, they're super tiny. And everybody always talks about Montreal and how scenic it is. And it is. It's beautiful. Like, if you're watching a game, you get the vista of Montreal and all that.
If you've never walked inside the venue.
It's got character, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you've never. But if you've walked inside, the concourse area or the locker rooms, you're like, oh, man, they need a new facility. They do.
The lines, the yardage isn't straight. If you look down the field, they're kind of crooked.
Yeah, because the one end zone where they have, the medical school coming out, Bake? Is that it?
Yeah. The McGill, yeah.
So it's not even a regulation field. So, yeah, Montreal, I don't know about that.
Seriously, those locker rooms in Montreal, sorry to interject, my high school gym had better,
Yeah, Montreal,
anyway.
not a fan, but Saskatchewan, beautiful new facility.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
Amazing Hamilton, too, right?
Yeah,
Ottawa.
Yeah. I finally got to go to Hamilton last year, and, I really like their stadium as well.
Yeah.
Nicky was going to say something about McMahon.
McMahon is a hill. Literally, when I'm low when I'm shooting on my videos, and it's like a hill. If somebody's on the other sideline, it looks like their legs are cut off because it's like a hill. It's crazy.
Crowned.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the field is crowned. That's why Empire Stadium was way back in the day where the Lions used to play before BC Place. It was first off, it was carpet all over concrete, right, the last few years. And then you're right, it was a crown. That was another crown field. So, Josh, before we let you go, we're going to have a little fun. And we're going to get Ayden Eberhardt in here, your roommate, because he's made the trip with you tonight. So we're going to have what we have Nick Kowalski's world famous trivia coming up in a matter of minutes. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a little roommate questionnaire / trivia right now. Ayden, how you doing?
Good.
You enjoy your meal tonight?
Delicious.
Good.
Love it.
Okay. So we're going to ask you guys questions because you guys are roommates now. We're actually neighbors for people who don't know, and they're Burnaby. Most likely to forget to pay the cable bill.
Nowadays I feel like everything is, electronic, and you could usually do auto pay.
No. Are you going to pay? Would you forget or would Ayden forget?
I'll probably say Ayden.
I would say Josh. It's in his name.
No, it's not.
The cape. Oh yeah, no.
See? Yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Most likely to forget to do laundry.
I say myself.
Yeah.
It'll pile up.
Yeah.
I wear a lot of clothes.
All right. Most likely to have OCD traits. Like, you know what I'm talking about? You take a drink out of an orange juice, you put the glass on the counter, you come back 5 minutes later to use the same glass, it's in the dishwasher.
I don't think either one of us.
No?
No, it's been pretty. Even with like the laundry and everything like that, I feel like we're kind of the same.
Same?
You know,
Okay, so you guys on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Most likely to sleep in.
Ayden.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take that one.
No hesitation there.
That was me.
All right, the last one before we let you go. Who is the better video game player, and what do you play?
I don't know. We haven't played against each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it depends the game.
Madden.
I've got it.
He got Madden.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you give me 2K, you give me like a Red Dead Redemption or a Assassin's Creed type game.
Yeah. Shooter game, you're better?
In a third person, I go
Okay.
crazy.
All right.
Like Call of Duty, I'll take that one.
Yeah, you can. First person shooter, he could take it, but you give me a third person.
Who's the best video game player on the team? You know?
Tyler Packard.
Yeah.
Tyler Packer?
He was a professional Call of Duty or Halo player or something?
Yeah.
Really?
Is that right? He's a gamer? Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler Packer.
Tyler
like,
Packer is the
crazy.
best gamer on earth.
We got to get him on next week.
that just blows me away because he just doesn't come across as a guy who'd big offensive lineman. Like, I figured somebody like Hollins would be probably like the best gamer.
No,
right?
it was during camp, I think last year. I played 2K, which is like the NBA game, right?
Yeah.
And he randomly asked if I played, and I was like, yeah. And then he starts going into depth about like all the stuff, and I was like, Packer, you play like that? He's talking about different builds, the different play. I'm like, whoa, okay. And I was like, oh yeah, he's a gamer for real.
Oh, wow. That blows me away. See, you learn something new every night.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, we're going to let you run. Ayden, thanks for stopping by. Josh, thanks for being our guest tonight. And good luck in Winnipeg this week.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
right.
boys.
Before we get to break, Matt Baker,
Yes.
Grey Cup. Very quickly, I know you want to get this in, that tickets are still on sale.
Yes, they are, and they're moving fast. Last week, we were excited to announce that we were over 40,000. The lower bowl is long gone, and if you're on the fence, we encourage you to get off the fence. Head to bclions.com, greycupfestival.ca. I'm excited as well about this festival. I know we've talked about it before, but you and Julio are going to do the zip lining down at Canada Place, Cole Harbour there.
Tandem zip line.
Yes.
We'll do it at the same time.
Kowalski will come film it,
Yep.
and it'll be our best piece of content that we've ever had. Who am I kidding? I hope we're busy during Grey Cup week preparing for the game, obviously, but that's a long time away. 111th Grey Cup, 17th time it's in our great city, and become a BC Lions season ticket holder. You can still do that. You get dibs on your seats as well.
And
I
think you nailed it. It's going to be a festival, and that's the cool part about it. The entire week.
It's a party, yeah.
Just seeing everybody come from all parts of Canada to enjoy the game, and heck, I mean, it's we've got one big event down with the kickoff concert. The Grey Cup's another one. We still got to get through Touchdown Pacific.
Oh yeah,
which
that's
is
right.
going to be
Yeah.
another awesome event when the Ottawa Red Blacks come to play the Lions in Victoria.
That's going to be a fun festival.
August.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun as well. All right, we'll take a quick break. On the other side, we'll continue with our coverage here from BC Kitchen at Park in Vancouver. Matt, you going to be ready for trivia?
I hope I'm on my game. I think it's Grey Cup themed as well, so
okay.
That's rumor has it. Yeah.
Nick Kowalski and his world famous trivia coming up next. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW.
This is Lions on Tap, presented by Coors Light, the chill choice and official beer of the BC Lions. Now it's time for Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia.
Welcome back to BC Lions on Tap on 980 CKNW and the Lions Audio Network. It's the Moj Bomber Janovich along with Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski from the BC Lions media team. We're coming to you from BC Kitchen at Park Vancouver. And again, great facility here. If you're ever going to a Lions game, pop on down. They got some great specials and, of course, probably the easiest entry into BC Place Stadium from Park Vancouver. All right, great show thus far, hearing from Josh Woods. absolutely blows me away. I'm still shocked that Tyler Packer is the best video game player on the team. I mean, Tyler Packer, like you'd expect somebody who's like, chirpy, outgoing. Like, I just don't see Tyler Packer as a video game guy, but apparently he is. He's the best player on the team.
Man of many talents.
Oh, man, that's just – and, like, I've talked to Tyler the last couple of times, the last couple of days, obviously getting the start at center, and we chatted before the game, chatted today at practice after the game, kind of got his thoughts, and we started talking about Calgary and, University of Calgary and me being a BC guy, UBC guy. And I'm just still trying to register that he's the best video game player on the team. It just blows me away. That's just that right there. All right. What's going to blow us away is Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia, which is now going to occur. You got your intro, Nick. You're all happy. Who produced that, by the way? Is that you?
No, whoever did hit the right notes there.
It's probably Whittingham pulling the strings of that.
Got your own intro.
He's always got my back.
It is world famous when it says so in the intro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got tonight?
So I'm always thinking of themes, right? Remember last week it was the home opener crowds. So BC Winnipeg, the first thought that pops in my head is Andrew Harris. He's also got a documentary coming out this week that Matt and I got the pre-screening to, Running Back
Very
Relentless.
good, by the way.
So
Running Back Relentless.
Little
very
plug
good.
to that. So.
Very quickly, I saw a tweet, and they said, and I don't know if it was true, but they said it was Andrew Harris in the stands wearing a Saskatchewan Rough Rider jersey.
Yeah.
AJ Ouellette.
He posted it with AJ Ouellette after the game in Hamilton there. Yeah.
At Tim Hortons, yeah.
That was
him.
Yeah, he's supporting his guy.
Yeah.
Wearing an okay.
It was a little weird, yeah.
It was a little odd. Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Winnipeg Blue Bomber fan seeing that.
Threw me for a loop, yeah.
And by the way, Andrew Harris will be honored when we head out to Winnipeg this weekend.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's being honored at halftime.
It's a big week for him.
Yeah.
So
looking forward to it.
I manually cross-referenced this one, so please, if anyone listening, come at me if I'm wrong. So I'm talking to you, Dave Wardle, or any BC Lion diehard fans. I might get me.
Wow, you just threw Dave Wardle under the bus.
Well, he might correct me on this one, but I tried my best to cross-examine this one. So the question I have for you guys, Andrew Harris, he is one of 9 players to both have won a Grey Cup with the BC Lions and Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Can you name me the other 8?
Michael Gray.
Mike Gray is correct.
Mike Gray is correct. Was a Bomber in '88. Matt Dunnigan.
Yep.
Mark Naperkowski.
Actually, Dunnigan didn't win with the Lions.
Actually, yeah, Dunnigan's not on my list.
He lost in '88.
Never mind. Dunnigan's not on my list.
Because of Michael Gray.
Yeah, because of Michael Gray.
There are 2 other quarterbacks on this list, so to give you hints.
Buck Pierce. Does that count?
Incorrect. Buck Pierce. Well, I'm talking player, so Buck Pierce does not count.
Yeah.
You got to go old.
Coaches would be too hard to guess. We got a quarterback in the 80s.
Tim Cowan?
Nope. No. A quarterback in the 90s.
Quarterback in the 80s.
Quarterback in the 90s. Oh, Danny McManus.
That's one.
Oh,
there you go.
That's so easy.
90 and 94. Quarterback in the 80s. He also played for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Tom Burgess? No,
Correct.
didn't win one with BC. I'm way off.
We got a couple good DBs on this list, too, that did it.
Les Brown.
That's one.
Yep.
One came from the Seahawks, the other DB. Handled some return duties. One in 94 with BC, 88 with Winnipeg.
94.
Barry Wilbur.
Incorrect.
Came from the James Jefferson.
There you go.
There
you
you
got
go.
it.
Had a big interception, yeah.
This other quarterback. He played 8 years in BC.
And we're going to kick ourselves.
I'll give it away when I give the year away.
Give me initials.
I'll also give it
no,
away,
that'll
too.
totally give. No initials.
He also played for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Is that another hint that would help?
Kahari Jones.
Incorrect.
No.
Yeah, we're way off here.
Here's one that'll give it away. There's a linebacker that played, I think, more recent.
Adam Big Hill. Yep. It's an obvious one.
Yep. Yeah. Adam Big Hill is one.
This quarterback is driving me nuts.
No, don't spoil the quarterback yet. You said he was also an Ottawa Rough Rider.
Yeah, I'm double checking this that he won in '88 with Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did win in '88. He played in '88. He was with Ottawa and Winnipeg.
Oh man!
And then the rest of his career before that, he was in BC.
So who's with BC?
Before '88, he was in BC.
1980 to 1987, he played with
Roy
BC.
DeWalt.
Oh, Joe. Oh,
Roy DeWalt is correct.
I don't really remember DeWalt as a Bomber.
No, neither do I.
88, he had 131 passes.
Okay, how many are we? Who are we missing?
Wow.
How many are we missing?
You're missing a guy from 1964, so I'm not sure if you're going to get this name. It's Walter Balicki. Do you know that name?
Okay.
No, pass.
Okay, well, he won 58 with Winnipeg.
I don't remember Roy DeWalt as a Blue Bomber.
I mean, he has 130 pass attempts in '88, so with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
He wasn't the starter.
And you're missing another DB here. He didn't really play much. He won in 94 with BC and then 90 and 88 with Winnipeg. Initials are MA. I'm not sure if you even know his name.
MA.
Yeah, he had 3 career interceptions.
Young Judd's shaking his head over
He played
there.
8 years, this guy, though. He played 4 years in Winnipeg, 2 years in Ottawa, 2 years in BC.
M.A. BC and Winnipeg. You got me.
Michael Allen? Do you know the name?
No.
He had 3 career picks, so
There you go.
maybe a rotational guy. But that's everybody. And then
That's a good one.
How about this one? There's also one player who could join this list that year. Who would that be?
Who could join the list?
Yeah, if his team were to win a Grey Cup this year, he would
So
join
somebody
this
won
list.
with Winnipeg. Michael Couture.
Yeah, there you go.
Michael Couture.
So he could
There
be the
it
10th
is.
person to do it this year. So
Wow.
let's make it a nice even number.
Oh, that was good.
That was good.
trivia tonight.
Very
That's a
close.
manual one. You got me on the Matt Dunnigan thing because I never had the
No,
quarterbacks,
that,
but-
yeah.
No, Dunnigan was with BC when Michael Gray tipped the pass.
That's right. And he won pretty much everywhere else he went. Edmonton, Toronto.
You know who else won a quarterback or probably won a Grey Cup as a quarterback with Winnipeg in that era? Remember Sean Salisbury?
Yeah.
Old ESPN
Old
analyst?
Radio Road guest of ours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the craziest thing is
He was the starter there in 88.
so Terry Cochran, who played for the Bombers back then, he's a UBC alum.
Yeah.
We were interviewing Salisbury one year at the big game, and Terry's like, he was my roommate in Winnipeg. And somehow,
Yeah.
some way, we got them connected together. But it's such a small world. It really is when you start thinking about football. And Terry's still living here in Vancouver, doing his thing and working in business. And he and Sean Salisbury are roommates. So
That's crazy.
yeah, it's such a small world. All right, you done with your trivia?
That's it. You guys did
That
pretty
was
well.
it. That was the world famous.
That was good. I like
Kowalski.
those
That was
ones
good.
where you got to put your thinking cap on.
Took a lot of manual
That
research.
quarterback thing really got me.
Roy DeWalt, yeah, 85.
Like, I was like, Roy DeWalt. Like, it blew me away that he played for Winnipeg. All right, Matt, before we let you go, next home game, Edmonton Elks.
Yes. This is a special one for a couple of reasons. We're calling the theme celebrating your colors, celebrating the rich and cultural diversity in this city and in this province. And you know what I love about this? It's a perfect way to kick off your Canada Day long weekend. Thursday night, Thursday's kind of the unofficial start to any weekend, but that's especially true in the summer. So everything going on. Backyard party presented by PlayNow.com, $5 Molson Coors beverages. We've got food trucks and games and face painting for the kids. Thursday night, 7 o'clock. And I'll tell you what, talking about chances to put distance between ourselves and some division rivals. There you go. BCLions.com, youth tickets for $15. Plenty of cool seating options. Celebrate Our Colors is the name of the theme. Celebrating Our Colors, I should say.
All right, that's a wrap for us tonight. Big thank you to everyone here at BC Kitchen at Park Vancouver. And again, if you're going to a Lions game this year, going to any game, just pop on down to Park Vancouver. Great drink and food specials, and right next door to BC Place, you get the easiest access to BC Place. I don't even know what gate number it is, but great facility here at Park Vancouver. Also, a big thank you to our guests tonight, Josh Woods from the BC Lions and Ayden Eberhardt, who stopped by for a segment as well. Little roommate trivia, had fun with that. I'm still trying to wrap my head around Tyler Packard being the best gamer. I'm sorry, but
If you're dialed into the Lions locker room, that's common knowledge. I knew that.
Oh, that just blows me away. Anyway, great stuff with Josh and with Ayden. And, of course, a big thank you to Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the BC Lions broadcast team. A reminder, we will have that game for you on CKNW, or probably 980 CKNW on Friday when the BC Lions travel to Winnipeg. Pre-game show will start at 4:30. Kickoff at 5:30. On 980 CKNW. Big thank you to our executive producer on site as well, Mike Whittingham, the best in the business. You know what I'm going to tell you before we get out of here? Go do what you got to do. Go for it on 3rd and short. Just do us a favor. Be safe, folks. Talk to you soon.
Adios.